These oatmeal and raisin cookies are a must-try. Packed full of delicious, juicy raisins and with hints of vanilla and cinnamon, you really can't go wrong. They are absolutely delicious, so hold tight for the recipe. Hello and welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be making some delicious oatmeal and raisin cookies. These are some of my favourite cookies. I think they're so underrated in the cookie world. They're going to be chunky and crunchy on the outside and deliciously chewy on the inside, and I cannot wait to make them. Before we get stuck in, if you could subscribe to my channel, that would be awesome. Okay, so in terms of ingredients, what we have is 120 grams of butter, 160 grams of rolled oats, 140 grams of plain flour, 100 grams of soft brown sugar. You can do 50-50 with light brown sugar and dark brown sugar, but I've done all light brown sugar today. We're going to be using a teaspoon of vanilla essence, a teaspoon of cinnamon, a pinch of salt, a teaspoon of baking powder, a teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda, 180 grams of raisins, 1 egg, and my little secret ingredient, which is 50 grams of golden syrup. This recipe is super easy. I'm going to be using a stand mixer, so if you have one of those, that's perfect. If not, a hand mixer or even a wooden spoon will work perfectly fine as well. Quite simply, to kick things off, grab your butter and pop it into your mixer. And along with your butter, you're also going to put in your light brown sugar. Then you're just going to cream the butter and sugar together on a medium speed until it's light and fluffy. A little tip is to get the butter out of the fridge 20 minutes before you want to start baking, so it's nice and soft when you do. Next up, it's time to add your egg, along with a teaspoon of cinnamon, a teaspoon of vanilla, and 50 grams of golden syrup, and stir again on a medium speed. If you're using a stand mixer, you might need to pause partway through and just get your spatula involved to make sure it's all fully combined. There you go, quite a lot gets stuck on the... I need to get a new spatula, so bad. Recovered. But yes, just make sure it's all nice and combined. Scrape around the edges before mixing it for a bit longer. Now we currently have a very wet mixture, so of course now it's time for the dry ingredients. So quite simply, add in your oats and your plain flour. I've got them all in the same bowl here. Along with your teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda. And goes baking powder and a generous pinch of sea salt. About 1 teaspoon is what you're after. And then, of course, we're going to mix once again. On a slightly lower speed this time, otherwise you'll spray your oats and flour everywhere. When it's about 90% of the way mixed, that's when you can grab your raisins or sultanas and pop them in as well, and just stir them through for the last few moments on a nice low speed at this point. From here, you just want to grab yourself a lined baking sheet and you want to weigh out your cookies into 10 equal cookies. I think 10 cookies of about 80 grams each is a really good size cookie. If you've got a cookie scoop, obviously use that. Just weigh out your cookie dough. Just roll them into a lovely ball and pop them on a baking tray. You don't need to evenly space them at this stage because they're going to go in the freezer to harden up a little bit before we put them in the oven. There we go. So once you've got all your cookie doughs on a tray, just pop them in the freezer for 30 minutes or in the fridge for an hour or so, and then you're ready to bake. Now once they've been in the freezer for about 30 minutes, then split them across 2 baking trays so they've got some room to expand. And you just want to flatten them with your hands slightly. So flatten them until they're about that thick. While you're doing this, you can get your oven preheated to 180 degrees fan. And you're going to bake them for about 10 to 12 minutes. I like to try and make sure the edges are nice and smooth because if they go too cracked, then you lose the shape of your cookie a little bit. There we go, and once they're nicely flattened, they are ready for the oven. You want to bake until they start to turn a golden brown and have lovely cracks across the surface. Once you've got them out of the oven, just leave them to cool for a few minutes on the tray before moving them onto a wire rack. It is, of course, now my favourite bit, which is the taste test time. So I'm going to go with this one. I am so excited to tuck into that. Here goes. Incredible. I could honestly eat every single one of these right here, right now. They are so gooey and yummy. They've got that perfect balance of salty and sweet, just filled with all these lovely juicy raisins, and that cinnamon and vanilla just finishes them off perfectly. Now that is what I call a successful bake. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to check out the other videos on my channel. I've got lots of lovely cookie and brownie recipes on there for you to try. If you've enjoyed today's video, please give me a like or a comment or subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.